Hi, I'm Victor Davies, and I'm the composer of the car horn piece.
Hi.
So, again, Fred? I think they're going to have to mic it. They called me and they said, what do you think about writing a concerto for car horns? And I said, oh yeah, great, why not? So I didn't have any idea at that moment what it would be. Honk, 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 honk. Yeah. Okay. Okay. It should actually say, it should be very, like, completely unstructured being, and then it should actually...
Victor Davies, one of Canada's most popular composers. Over his 40-year career, he's worked in almost every field. Composing for film, for dance, for choir, and for orchestra. For 35 years, Winnipeg was his home, and he's come back to work with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. He's been commissioned to compose a piece to open the orchestra's 50th anniversary season. And as always with Davies, what he delivers is full of pleasing surprises.
In this car horn piece, there's sort of everything in there. You know, it starts off with kind of mysterioso thing, and then we got rock and roll, and we have some kind of Middle European sounding things, and audience participation. Yeah, but I think you just conduct exactly what they do, rather than bars.
Okay.
Then, because the audience won't know anything about bars or anything, so you just conduct.
Victor's fascination with music began when he was a young child, and from the beginning, it was connected to stories that he'd invent inside his head.
I've kind of heard music kind of lying in bed at night. You know, I sort of heard music when I was about 7 or 8 years old, but I never really had teachers that could foster that or could bring that out. And I had a wonderful teacher when I was about 14, Beth Kuhl, who introduced me simultaneously in the same year to Gershwin and Bach. And I tried my hand at writing pieces in those styles right then, and my major opus of that year was a piece called The Battle.
At 14?
Yeah. And it was two opposing armies that came together in this massive battle, and then there were all the ghosts of the fallen that kind of, you know, so that was, again, it was a narrative thing, wasn't it?
Years later, he did the rounds in the Winnipeg music scene. And as usual, he moved his talent around, from the local production of the children's show Let's Go to recordings with the London Symphony Orchestra in the famous Abbey Road studios.
I played in lots of clubs around Winnipeg at one time, you know, for backup singers, and during the era of nightclubs. In high school, I played in a kind of a swing band, you know, and Benny Goodman and Count Basie and Duke Ellington were my heroes. And then after that, I went to Indiana and studied composition. And that's when I came back to Winnipeg. That was when my kind of nightclub era entered on the scene, and country records and all those things, because in order to keep alive in Winnipeg, you really had to do everything.
He might have been a chameleon when it came to style, but in one area, he never changed colors. He always told stories through his music.
And then 99.
I wonder if it's going to work, Bramwell.
Sorry?
Do you think it's going to work?
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. As long as he does...
It's interesting that Beethoven, I think, was once asked why he didn't put titles on his music. He said, well, he thought it was obvious that everybody would know the story when they heard the music. And I think I approach my music writing as a composer, as a narrative. Composer error. Bing, 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 bing. I actually thought it as da, 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 like as 8 notes, but long, like deep, 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 sim.
In 1988, at the invitation of Winnipeg's Mennonite community, Davies was asked to give musical life to one of the world's great stories, the Book of Revelations from the Bible. The oratorio he wrote gave him the chance to work with one of his favorite musical instruments, the human voice.
I think the voice is coming to be the focus of my musical world. Because I have some ideas for other oratorios I'm getting to work on, and some opera ideas, and I have a song cycle I'm working on.
Davies continues to move it around. His openness to a world of sound makes for an easy transition from the subtlety of the human voice to the less subtle range of a car horn.
I've always been attracted to popular music, you know, and the idioms of that, and the directness of that. The story is that, well, at the beginning we have these shimmering things, you see, and we have a kind of a mini history of transportation. We have the horse, and then we have the bicycle. The modern car kind of plays along and honks exultantly and rejoices in itself and does a lot of flourishes and things. And then, lo and behold, a kind of a Wagnerian sort of shimmering chord, we hear an offstage horn. And so, oh, and the horn on the main horn is very happy it has a friend now, or lover, or we don't know.